radius that we already have talked about, distance from the center of the circle to any outside edge. So our radius, lowercase r, this one was 5 centimeters. Distance through the center circle from one edge to another is what's referred to as our diameter. Lowercase d, the diameter is double our radius, it's 5 centimeters, so this is 10 centimeters. 10 centimeters. So that's the relationship between those two. The radius is, the diameter is double the radius, or the radius is half of the diameter. Another measurement we're worried about in grade 7 is this distance around this outside edge of the circle. Okay, this is called the circumference. On this we use a capital or an uppercase C. So calculating that distance is what we're going to talk about now. Now, the relationship between this outside distance and the diameter is what's important. Now, if we were in class, we'd have a bunch of activities figuring these things out. Unfortunately, we're doing online here, so we're just going to talk about what the circumference is. So, circumference in relation to the diameter. If we were to take a string, we could measure around this outside edge. If we had a few more hands here, we could do that measurement. Then we could lay that out on a longer ruler and figure out what that measurement is. There's another way we can calculate that based on the relationship between this and this. A symbol or a value for this relationship. And that relationship is, we use pi. There's the symbol for pi. Okay, so pi in grade 7, we don't use the pi button on our calculators, we just use 3.14. Now the relationship is pi because, generally speaking, approximately, the circumference or the distance around any circle is approximately 3 times the diameter, or the distance across the center here. So in any circle you measured, whether it's this circle around this cool little I Have the Power He-Man mug, okay, whether it's this, any circle, okay, the distance around the outside of that circle is approximately 3 times the diameter. So on this one, for example, approximately this one is 10 centimeters across, so the approximate distance around here would be 10 times 3 would be 30 centimeters. Now, we can find the exact circumference, the exact measurement around the outside by using this formula. So our circumference equals pi times the diameter. So this one, for example here, the circumference or the distance around the outside edge of this circle, the diameter is there, so we would use 3.14 for pi, and then multiply that by our diameter, which is 10 centimeters, times 10 centimeters. 3.14 times 10, well, it's easy, I can do that without a calculator. It's 31.4. So the distance around this circle that I've drawn here, if we measure that with your ruler, with a string, and you got it exact, would be 31.4 centimeters. Okay, now this leads to, let's say on a question that you know the radius and not the diameter. Now, of course, we could just take our diameter formula and just say 2 times the radius gives us the diameter and then plug that in. Or we could take this bit here and add that into our formula, 2 pi r. So if I know my radius, 2 pi r. If I know my diameter, pi times diameter. Now, of course, you can always, if you're just more comfortable and you want to remember one thing, you could just figure out your diameter every single time and multiply that by pi. Now we're going to practice this on a few questions here in your textbook. Now you notice there are 3 steps every single time. Okay, so let's say this one here. We're going to do the radius. So I would have the formula, I would then fill it in. Radius is 5. And then I would put my answer with units on it. 3 lines every single time. Okay, don't be just giving me this answer here at the end. That is a demonstration. Okay, this one right here. What's the circumference of the circle to the nearest tenth of a centimeter? So we look at this and what is given to us? Distance all the way across to the center, that's the diameter. So I'm going to use, this is number 2, C equals pi times D. C equals 3.14 times 9.5. Where's my calculator? I can't do that one in my head. I guess I'm not as smart as some of you. 9.5 times 3.14. Okay, and that's going to C equals, and it says the 10th centimeter, so that's 1 decimal place. So that's going to round to 29.8. And it's centimeters. So I'm going to use C equals 2 pi r. C equals 2 times 3.14 times 11. 11 times 3.14 times 2 is, C equals 69 point, and now this says round to the nearest tenth, 69.08, so it's going to go 69.1 feet, because that's my unit here. Okay, number 2, I again see radius. Are all of these radius? Nope. First page radius, second page diameter. Come on. Okay, so this one, radius again, C equals 2 pi r. C equals 2 times 3.14 times 7 yards. C equals 14 times 3.14 equals 43. It says 0.96. So I'm going to back that up to the nearest tenth. Is going to be 44.0 yards. Okay, so there's 2 with the radius. Now I'm going to do 2 with the diameter. C equals pi times diameter, so 3.14 times 4 meters. 3.14 times 4 is, again, 12.56. Rounded is going to be 12.6 meters. And we'll pick this one, I guess. C equals pi times D. C equals 3.14 times 16.8. 16.8 times 3.14 equals, there's a large number, well, lots of digits, 52.752. 52.75 is going to round to 8 meters.